Gentlemen, start your engines.
November 15th. To some people, that might seem like just another date on the calendar, but not to me. It's not only my wife's birthday, happy birthday to her, but also what I feel like is the most important date in NASCAR history. It is one that is full of some of the most iconic and noteworthy moments from the sport that we all love so much. Even some of the most die-hard NASCAR fans might not even realize so many of these moments fell on the same date. 29-year-old rising star Dale Earnhardt entered the 1980 Los Angeles 500 at Ontario Motor Speedway with a slim 29-point margin over Cale Yarborough in the Winston Cup point standings. Cale, who had won the title in 1976, 77, and 78, couldn't have had the weekend start off any better for the season finale as he qualified on the pole for the race. He just couldn't get away from Earnhardt, though, who qualified right alongside of Cale in second. Cale led 65 laps during the race and finished third, but it wasn't nearly enough to get by Earnhardt, who captured his first career Winston Cup title. Earnhardt finished fifth that day, which left him 19 points ahead of Cale in the final season standings. The 1992 Hooters 500 at Atlanta is widely regarded as one of, if not the greatest race of all time. The hype around the race was something that will most likely never ever be matched. 6 drivers were still mathematically eligible to win the championship. Davey Allison led the standings by 30 points over Alan Kulwicki. Bill Elliott was 40 points back in third. Harry Gant was 97 back in fourth, which was just 1 point ahead of Kyle Petty. Mark Martin sat sixth, 113 points back of Allison. The race also was the final start for the King, Richard Petty, as Atlanta marked the final stop on his fan appreciation tour, which celebrated his career throughout his final season. Petty qualified his iconic number 43 and 39th, and a mid-race crash and fire ended his day early, sending him home with a 35th place finish. That did not completely spoil the celebration, though, as Petty was honored after the race by the crowd. Little did we know at the time how important this next part would turn out to be, but the race also served as the Winston Cup debut for a young Busch Series prospect named Jeff Gordon. The 21-year-old had just capped off a breakout Busch Grand National Series campaign where he finished fourth in points and won 3 races and an eye-popping 11 poles. He started 21st in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet for Rick Hendrick, the same car he was scheduled to drive full-time in starting in 1993. Gordon had some problems of his own and finished 31st, but again, looking back, it's incredibly cool to think that there was a race that featured Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon. To this day, the race featured future NASCAR Hall of Fame drivers Bill Elliott, Alan Kulwicki, Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Davey Allison, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Richard Petty. If you want to go even a little deeper, you had cars in the field owned by Junior Johnson, Bud Moore, Bobby Allison, Roger Penske, Cale Yarborough, Joe Gibbs, the Wood Brothers, Rick Hendrick, Richard Childress, Robert Yates, and Jack Roush. Kirk Shelmerdine, who will be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in this upcoming class, was the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt that day. You also had Ray Evernham calling the shots for Jeff Gordon's debut. The ESPN TV booth had Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett up there. There are currently 61 members of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and 27 of them are directly involved with the running of the 1992 Hooters 500. That's not to even mention about a handful of names that previously graced the Hall of Fame ballot or deserved to be on it, such as Jeff Bodine, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Bob Jenkins, Tim Brewer, Buddy Parrott, and Jake Elder. As for the race for the Winston Cup itself, points leader Davey Allison was unfortunately caught up in an accident, ending his chances at capturing his first title. He was so gracious and upbeat as usual during an interview after the accident with ESPN.
Everybody at Robert Yates Racing deserves a lot better than this. And, they deserve to win that championship this year, and we didn't get it, so we'll just go back and we'll get ready for next year, and we'll come out and try again. It just wasn't meant to be.
As the race went on, it turned out to be a 2-driver battle for the title, with Elliott and Kulwicki trading the lead back and forth multiple times. It was an edge-of-your-seat type of thriller, as every single point mattered. Elliott took the lead with 13 laps left and went on to win the race. Kulwicki came in second but won the championship. The difference? Elliott led 102 laps, but Kulwicki led get this, 103, which gave him the bonus for most laps led, making all of the difference in this historic battle. Shoot, I just talked about this race for a couple minutes and all I wanted to do was give you a small recap. If that doesn't tell you how important this race was to the history of NASCAR, I really don't know what will. Fast forward to 1998, and it seemed like destiny that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would win his first career Busch Grand National Series championship 18 years to the date that his dad won his first Cup title. Jr. entered the Jiffy Lube Miami 300 at Homestead 166 points up on Matt Kenseth, as Jr. just needed to start the race to clinch the series championship. His dad, Dale Earnhardt, was beaming with joy before the race as he talked to Dr. Jerry Punch in the booth.
But today, for the first time, a championship as a father. What does that mean?
Proud papa, too. I'm telling you, you do a lot of things in your career, and you're involved in racing like we've been in with my dad and the family. And just to grow up in it was pretty awesome, and to go out and win races was even better, and championships. But to see your son do it really hits home. You really feel good to see him win races, and he's able to go out and do things he's wanted to. But I'm proud of that whole team, Tony Uri and all the guys. They've worked hard, and I think they've really helped Dale Jr. be able to show himself. And it's a great team effort. But surely I'm proud of that boy of mine.
The race really didn't go as planned for the team, as Jr. pulled his number 3 car into the pits after only 89 laps with engine issues. That didn't stop the celebration though, as the new champion climbed from his car in his pit stall as the race was still going on. He stood on the roof and saluted the crowd before being interviewed by Bill Weber of ESPN.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go out like that. We're gonna go out with a smile and a Coke.
The full celebration had to wait until after the race, as he was presented the 1998 Busch Grand National Series Championship trophy before celebrating with his dad and the rest of his number 3 AC Delco team. Speaking of Dale Jr., we moved to the 2015 Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500 at Phoenix Raceway, which was renamed Jeff Gordon Raceway to honor the retiring legend. Jr. started third that day and led twice for 22 laps before the race was eventually called due to rain. The victory turned out to be the 26th and final Cup Series victory of his Hall of Fame career. Alright, just to recap, November 15th not only had the first start of a future 4-time champion, but the final start of a 7-time champion who also just so happens to be the winningest driver in NASCAR history. It featured the first championship of another future 7-time champ, as well as the first title and the final win for his Hall of Fame son. Not to mention what most people consider to be the greatest race of all time. That is an incredible amount of history for one single date. Dang, I love NASCAR. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you loved this one, we're sure you will enjoy all of our other videos. So please take a moment to subscribe to our channel so you can be the first to know when a new one comes out.